I'm talking with Suzanne here, and Suzanne is helping with working for Learnlife. We are here helping the teens prepare for the future at Mind Valley University. It's something that I've been doing for the past 5 years. And you're a psychologist, you have your own school, you've been speaking on stage here. So why don't you introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit more about how you ended up in this place?
Okay, amazing. I'm Suzanne Faith, and I'm an educator, a somatic cognitive behavioral psychologist, and I also work with integrative quantum medicine, which is an energy practice. And yeah, with Learnlife, I've been working with them. We've won one of the top 10 best schools, innovative schools in the world, which is quite
impressive.
I know. And I primarily work with the adolescents, although I have worked with the primary school aged children and families. And I work primarily with the families, and I work with the children on their well-being. So I'm the well-being lead. So we have curriculum designed to support mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. And I also teach AP psychology courses for more of the older adolescents, and I do a lot of parent workshops and do a lot of community development for Learnlife.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's fair
that's
to
Learnlife. Yeah.
Yes. Like there are many aspects to unpack here, but it's fair to say that you're like one of the top educators, and like now actually being recognized for like being in a school that is like in the top 10. So what would you say differentiates a school that is being recognized at such a high level towards like other schools and potentially even the traditional education system?
Yeah. I mean, I've learned so much by working with Learnlife. They are a very high caliber, quality expert educators. So when I started to work with them, I came with a very open mind and very curious to be like, what's going on with this school? And I've grown so much as a human being and as an educator. And what makes that school so unique, Learnlife, is that we primarily focus on building autonomy in learning. Although being autonomous, it requires a lot of prerequisites.
Yes.
So we are building the skill set to be autonomous. So what does it mean to own your learning, to be accountable, to understand where resources are, how to find resources, how to navigate resources? We work a lot on personal development. So learners, and what it means to be authentic. So learners spend time through our learning experiences, because we don't call them courses. We don't, I mean, we do have some math and science and English classes, but they're rooted in experiences. Like we have, math for life, for example, or we mix math and sciences together, which I think a lot of schools around the world are doing. But, we have projects where the learners were given them competencies. It's a competency-based model. And it's kind of up to them how they demonstrate their understanding. So we're like, this is the competency. You need to embody this. You need to demonstrate and express that you understand this. How do you want to do that? How do you want to get there? So we also spend a lot of time on strengths and passions. And we have crazy amount of resources. I mean, we have woodworking and ceramics and fashion and coding and music and theater, just to name a few. And we have learners that are leaving and graduating with products that are being ready for the market, like are being hired by companies. And then we have students that literally are going to universities all around the world. So yeah, and we support the learners through university exams, so GCSEs, or we primarily focus on APs. But if learners want to take A-levels, we support them in that journey.
Yeah, I love how much of a holistic system it is, because it's not just like, can you cram all that information as quickly as possible and then forget about it? It's really about the understanding. Are we developing the skills and making sure that the learners are like choosing what they want to do? I think like this choice is such a big thing, and most traditional education is just funneling people and it's like, no, this is what you have to do. Why? Because the curriculum said so.
Yeah.
And that's just such a bad answer.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we want it to have meaning and purpose.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, for them.
And they find it themselves, right?
And the timing as well. Like
Yeah.
we give them the space to embody the competencies at their own pace.
No,
So
I really like that.
the timing is, it's like they're choosing how and when and why.
Yeah. And like the focus is really here on skill development, right? Because
Yeah.
like skills is one of the most valuable things that we can have in a world of AI. Because you can tell an AI to do something, but if you don't have the skill of marketing, if you don't have the skill of like understanding medicine, you don't know whether the AI is hallucinating. You don't, and like we need to have the understanding is like, okay, this is what good looks like. And then kind of like being tested. And here's like something that I would love to unpack a little bit more. It's like you don't really have exams at Learnlife. How does that work? How can we have a school without exams?
Well, we have assessment methods, but the learners play a very big role in their own assessment. So they do a lot of self-assessment, and they're assessing their themselves through the whole journey. So, and they also play a role in the development of the rubrics that assess them. So we assess them on their decision-making and choice-making in what path they want to go. We assess them on their process. Like, okay, what is the process? How are you doing with the process? What would you have done differently? What did you do well? What will you do again? And then, then we also, before they begin, they have a benchmark. So we show them, okay, look at, this is where you're going. Look what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need to show the result.
they need to know where they're going, and they need to have a clear vision on where they're going. So we show them that. And then they play a very big role in assessing themselves along the way. And then we have something what we call a 360. And it's basically every learner does it a few times a year. And the learner comes with their mentor, which is a very big part of the role. They have a mentor that they meet with on a weekly basis to discuss social, emotional, academic, and personal goals, and and what's going on with them. And the mentor is supporting them along the whole way. So a 360 is where the mentor, the parents, and a few of their peers come, and they have to present all of their work from that term. And they have to present, and they have to answer all these questions. It's kind of like a little mini defense, like a thesis defense for anyone that's ever done a thesis defense. So the mentor is there asking them questions, and the learner has to articulate and demonstrate their understanding of the competencies.
Yeah.
Math, science, but also just literacy and communication. And really we ask them questions so they can really show, okay, this is how much I know. And sometimes they have to be accountable to be like, you know what? I didn't prioritize that, or I didn't do that. And we unpack the why. Why didn't you do that? What was in the way? Oh, I got distracted, or I really didn't like that, or I actually chose to do this instead of that. So they slowly begin to understand their ecosystem and what in the ecosystem is supporting them and what in their ecosystem is actually getting in the way.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into the ecosystem, but like just one thing before, because the competency, something I love about this is they get to show how they want to demonstrate that themselves. And that means they get to choose the projects that they're interested in. And like maybe they don't love doing math, but maybe they're really interested in business. Like, oh, now you get to like apply, like you need math for business. And like now it becomes more interesting. I was like, oh, that's why I need it for. Yeah, like there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, or math for life. Like, you need to be able to get a job, understand your expenses. You got to pay for your rent. If you want a car, what does that mean? If you want to travel, what do you need? How much do you need? And so they're doing a lot of math for life. Yeah.
That's very relevant. So you mentioned ecosystem, and like here at Learnlife, like the first week was all about like designing your own ecosystem. Like, what does this mean? And something I found is there's a lot of encouragement of them learning with one another, them having like group projects, them kind of like understanding that they are part of this ecosystem. Can you explain a little bit more on like how this like social learning within the community is happening?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our curriculum design is based on research, like neurology research, social research, psychology research. So, I mean, it's clearly indicated in the research that the brain fires very differently when it's in relationship with someone else. So other people are inspiring them and it sparks neurons. Or, we learn through modeling. Someone's challenging us so that we need to step up and express ourselves in a different way. We're critically thinking and co-creating. And these are skills that we need in our society to survive. So and then we also see in the research that like social relationships are one of the biggest predictors of longevity and happiness. So social skill development is a very big piece of what's happening in their learning. And they do so through the actual learning experiences.
Yeah. I found when they start teaching one another, that's where the learning really starts to happen. It's like the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. And if someone else has a question and you're starting to explain it, and it's like, I thought I understood it, but I guess not enough to explain it simply enough so someone else does it. But they are still at the step where they know what it's like not to get it.
Yeah.
And
that's the dopamine. Like, when there's a gap in your learning, that's when the dopamine.
Yeah.
And so then that motivates us to step in and fill in that gap. So that's the thing is sometimes as a group, you discover the gaps and then you get the motivation to come back to the learning. Yeah.
That's a beautiful process to like see that happening over and over again. And I think that's all like as like a guide. Because like there are no like teachers, they're guides.
Yeah.
I love this so much. Just because like we're not there to like do this. And it's like, no, you want to do this. How can I support you on that journey? Yeah,
exactly. And as someone that has, I came in teaching at university level, so it was lots of lectures that I came into to Learnlife. And they're like, no, like I have to refrain from sharing everything I want to share with them. So, I mean, there's so much I want to just tell them. But part of the journey as a learning guide is to hold back, give them like drip feed them some information, give them the resources and allow them to discover the knowledge on their own.
Yeah.
And then they come back because that's where real learning takes place. It expedites the learning. It drops it into long-term memory, and embodiment. So they embody it. Then we come back and we reflect. And then if they don't have some pieces, then I share. Yeah. So that was a journey for me because I just want to like share everything right away.
Like, but like, we overwhelm them and like it's too much and then they forget about it.
Yeah.
So I feel that. Okay, so there are lots of like learners walking past and we kind of like need to get going.
Yeah.
So let me wrap this up with a question. It's like, based on like your own school experience working with Learnlife, working here like in Mindvalley, what do you think we need in the traditional education system to prepare the next generation for the future?
Well, there's so much. I mean, where can we begin? I think that we need to understand that every learner is unique and every learner has their own strengths. And all we need is one person, like one educator, one mentor to see the strengths in each child. And if we try to box them all in, it's just that their potential is not tapped. So I think when we as educators can just step back for a moment and, okay, this learner's not fitting in this box, let me look for their strengths. And then obviously I think that when we give them the opportunity to make their own choices and to be accountable for their learning. Yeah.
I love that. It's like, none of us need to do everything well.
Yeah.
And I think we are the happiest when we found the thing that we can strive to become the best in the world at. Mm-hmm. When we have this, it's like, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's like having something that we love so much that we don't care whether we're getting paid for it. It's like we have such a deep passion about this. And if we can discover this in a learner and encourage that, and it's like, hey, you have a talent in there. Like, who cares that you're bad at math or grammar or
Yeah.
whatever? And like, yes, you'll get the basics. Don't worry about it, but focus on the thing that you're good at.
Yeah, your
Like,
unique potential. I mean, because everyone's unique potential is here to be tapped, and it needs to be tapped by the educators.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank
Suzanne,
you so
if
much,
someone
Luke.
wants to like reach out and kind of like get a little bit deeper, ask some questions, you have a lot of experience around this. What's the best place to reach out to you?
Well, I think my school, which we can save it for another conversation, is binduinstitute.org. Yeah.
Nice.